Science for a job well done. We are into the final phase of stakeholders consultation and consultation today, and hope at the end of this document we'll get the nod to have this document validated to move to next steps. I don't have any doubt that it will sail through successfully, and we all will have the glory of being part of this great job. And before we go into the details, let me just run through the agenda to say that we have an opening ceremony, and then after that we go into the technical session. The technical session will begin with the presentation of the draft document by the consultant, and that session up to the point of consensus of opinion will be managed by Professor Gunkule himself, and at the end of the day, we'll now give a vote of thanks and a closing remark. Then we can then leave. So that's just the summary of our agenda for this morning. Again, welcome to the event. I hope we can start now, right away, with opening prayers, and we'll said we'll have with national anthem, the second stanza. Can we go ahead? Are we set?
Yes.
Oh God
of creation, direct and
noble cause,
guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow,
and live in just and great lofty heights, to build a nation
where peace and justice shall reign.
Amen.
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 Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. So let's the opening ceremony with a welcome address by our Professor Gunkule, President NIS and Chairman Governing Council. Professor, please.
Thank you. The Chief of Party, USAID, FTF Nigeria, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Department, Federal Ministry of Agric and Rural Development, Dr. Ernest, members of Council of NIS, President, Soil Science Society of Nigeria, State Commissioners of Agriculture, Registrar of NIS, NIS Zonal Coordinators, ladies and gentlemen, it is with gratitude to the Almighty God that I welcome you all to this validation workshop on the National Agricultural Soil Management Policy. Please, can we all unmute so that we can hear what we are saying? Please.
Are you on mute?
Please.
Are you on mute?
Sorry, mute yourselves. That's what I mean. Mute yourselves.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have done so.
Thank you. I'd like to specifically acknowledge the presence of the State Commissioners of Agriculture and Environment, the Nigeria Institute of Soil Science, NIS, is an agency under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, with its act enacted into law by President Muhammadu Buhari on the 3rd of February, 2017. The Institute is charged with the mandate of regulating the profession of soil science in Nigeria, as well as providing a scientific basis for enhancing and sustaining productivity of soil resources with minimal environmental degradation, especially with regards to food production in the country. After the development of a draft copy of the National Agricultural Soil Management Policy by NIS as part of the agreement signed between USAID-NAIA and NIS, both parties jointly organized a one-day stakeholders consultative meeting on that draft National Agricultural Soil Management Policy on the 3rd of March 2022 at the Royal Choice Inn, Abuja. The objective of the meeting was to develop a sound and coherent soil policy that will set out a framework and a concrete measures, to protect soil and water quality while maintaining agricultural productivity and competitiveness. Furthermore, the meeting was organized to enable stakeholders at the federal level to make their inputs on the document. To this end, syndicate groups were constituted to critically examine various sections of the policy document with a view to submitting their observations and/or comments. All these have been included in the policy to further improve the quality. However, in view of the fact that the policy is a national one, there is need for stakeholders at the state level, comprising of permanent secretaries and commissioners in the state ministries of agriculture and environment, chairmen of farmers associations, as well as academia, to also examine the policy document and make their inputs at the zonal level. I want to believe, therefore, that having sent copies of the policy document ahead of time to the state commissioners of agriculture, as well as environment, and other stakeholders at the state level before now, they would have made meaningful contributions by way of suggestions and comments so as to produce a robust document that will emerge from this workshop today for submission to the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development for onward transmission to the Federal Executive Council for approval. On this note, I would like to wish all of us a successful workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Professor Ogunkule, thank you very much. I join you in our collective will to produce a robust document at the end of this meeting. And the next speaker will tell us exactly the support of the USAID Feed Nigeria Agribusiness Investment Activity to ensure the successful completion of this very important policy for the government and people of Nigeria. Let me at this juncture, while congratulating Professor Ogunkule on this beautiful and wonderful speech, invite Olumide Ojo, the Chief of Party, Nigeria Business Investment Activity, give a good message. Olumide Ojo, please.
Yeah, thanks so much, and good morning, everyone. I believe I'm coming out clear enough. I hope my audio is out.
Very out. Very out.
Thanks so much. So the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agric and Rural Development, the President of the Nigerian Institute of Soil Sciences, or Soil Science, sorry, Professor Heo Onkule, State Commissioners of Environment that are present in this all-important workshop. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I bring you greetings from the USAID Nigeria Feed the Future Agribusiness Investment Activity, which is being implemented by CNFA. CNFA is Cultivating New Frontiers in Agriculture. And we're doing this together with J.E. Austin in Washington, D.C., with funding from the United States government. We're so excited with the journey so far on the National Agricultural Soil Management Policy. And it is my very humble pleasure to congratulate the Institute under the leadership of the President for this milestone achievement again in the HANA of Nigeria's history. I believe so much that it is not in a gathering of this nature that I will be talking about the importance of soil, especially agricultural soil management, you know, to a nation's productivity, food security. It would be inappropriate to start talking about that here because I may not even be qualified to do so. But again, I want to remind us.
Audio is lost. I can't hear from my.
Okay.
Please continue. Your audio is clear. You can log in.
Okay, great. Thanks.
It's a local problem. Don't interrupt the meeting.
So it's a localized, it's an isolated problem.
I think so.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so-
I think so. Okay.
Yeah, but I also like to remind us about, you know, how strategic it is to have this National Agricultural Soil Management policy. You know, absence of a policy has been robbing this important aspect of our national food security of its relevance over the years. And it has also been downplaying the strategic relevance of the role of science, research and development in sustainable soil management. And, you know, with this coming to the fore, has been presented, has been championed by the Institute. I believe so strongly that it's going to be a whole lot of game changing. Soil is important to agricultural productivity and food security, as I mentioned earlier, as we all know. Soil is very critical, strategic to climate change mitigation and adaptation. Soil in this century, in fact, the global trend now is that soil is becoming so attractive for investment because with soil carbon sequestration, we can generate a whole lot of carbon credits that could be traded either in the international market or in the domestic market whenever that is set up. And that could be an alternative source of agribusiness financing as the world is, you know, is sprinting towards, you know, green, the green economy. So having a robust policy of this nature that recognizes the importance of sciences, research and development efforts in the management of soil is quite strategic, not just to ourselves, but to other sectors that are not even in agriculture. Yeah, because that mistake has always been made that soil is just about agriculture. Soil actually is the basis of our existence. It is the basis of our existence because virtually everything we survive on, aside from the air we breathe in, comes from the soil. Even our holy books, made us know that we all come from the soil. So soil is quite important. And, you know, as Nigeria is also projected to have its population reaching over 400 million by 2050. With the attendant pressure on the population in terms of urbanization, in terms of food production, also in terms of climate change and bioenergy. There is a whole lot of pressure on the soil. And if we don't have a carefully crafted framework that will guide how we invest and how we administer our soil resources, what's supposed to be unto us a benefit now and in the future may turn out to be otherwise. So I believe that the effort that has been put into this important policy framework by highly respected scholars and scientists in the sector, it's a pointer to another call to national service. I want you to see what you have been doing up to this moment as a service to the nation. We are going to be bequeathing on Nigeria a legacy that will guide the future management and administration of our soil resources in a sustainable manner. For us at Nigeria Agribusiness Investment Activity, and by extension, the USAID government, the United States government, it is part of the Development Cooperation Agreement of the United States with Nigeria that support should be given, in facilitating an enabling environment for agriculture and agribusinesses to thrive. And like I mentioned, the lack of a specific framework guiding productivity of soil and its management has remained an inhibiting factor in this regard. So with this coming out from these efforts of distinguished people like you, who are too numerous to mention here, I believe the development objectives that are crafted in the Development Cooperation Strategy for Nigeria, which was signed between the government of the United States and Nigeria, is 1 point towards being fully achieved, one step towards being fully achieved. So I congratulate all of you, as I congratulate myself and my colleagues who have been working with you very closely on this journey. We respect the depth of your knowledge and experience so much, and we pray that the intention we all have in committing our energy and resources into doing this will be achieved in not too long a time. As I'm closing my goodwill message, I want to challenge us that as we go through this very laborious exercise of reviewing this draft policy again, please let's give it the required commitment in terms of thoroughness. Remember that all of you, most of whom I know, who may not know me anyway, you have all put a lot of effort and years into building names for yourself in the sector. And it will be on record that you were part of this historical effort as well. So please put in the best effort you can in thoroughly reviewing this document. And whenever we need to update it or areas where we need to change a couple of things, please let's do it. But more importantly, let's work so assiduously to get this policy approved as soon as possible. It will be to our collective honor and credit if we can get this policy approved in not too long a time. I want to wish us the best of deliberation today, and I look forward to we look forward to working with you again in any areas possible towards getting these policies approved. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful deliberation.
Thank you, Ugalumide, for this detailed and thought-provoking speech, message which you have given to us. I trust very well that with what we have seen from the Nigerian Institute of Soil Science, that there is commitment and there is a desire to protect the name of the actors of this new policy. We hope that the efforts we have put in on this new initiative for government and the people of Nigeria will come to fruition very soon. And let me thank you again, Ogalumide, for this. As we move forward to inviting the Chief Executive of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, the Permanent Secretary of that ministry, to give the opening remarks to this event. Can we invite Dr. Ernest Imake, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, to do so? Thank you.
Is being represented by Engineer F.T. Bello, MNI, Director of Land Resources and Climate Change. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's invite Dr. Bello, Engineer Bello, to give the opening remarks on behalf of the Permanent Secretary. Engineer Bello, please.
Good morning, all. I have the singular honor and privilege of representing the Permanent Secretary of Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development in person of Dr. Ernest Imake, who is unavoidably absent. He is presently in Edo State on an official assignment. And he has asked me to stand in for him. I am actually the Director of Agricultural Lands and Climate Change Management Services of Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. The ministry has been part of the preparation for the draft of the National Agricultural Management Policy, part of the team that actually prepared the National Agricultural Soil Management Policy. So we are familiar with most of the content of that policy. And we, as a ministry, it was forwarded to the ministry for us to make our input. And the input was made, and it was forwarded to Nigerian Institute of Soil Science to be incorporated in the policy. We also participated actively in the preparation, in the validation workshop that was held before this presentation of the draft National Agricultural Soil Management Policy. So what I'm saying in effect is that the ministry is part and parcel of the stakeholders that put this policy together. And we appreciate the wide consultation that took place before we arrive at this draft National Agricultural and National Agricultural Management Policy. So we have no doubt that it will fit into the National Agricultural Technology Innovation Policy that was recently approved by the Federal Executive Council. We as a ministry regard this as a sectoral policy that will be implemented alongside the NATIP. In fact, the reality is coming up now that the health of our soil is part and parcel of food security. You cannot have food security if you do not know the health of your soil. If you don't manage your soil in a sustainable way, you are actually, in addition to degrading the land, you are not likely to have the yield that you expect. So we hope that this policy will create the awareness among our farming population for them to take the issue of management of their soil seriously. You find that somebody inherited land from his parents, but he has never bothered to know the nutrient content of that soil. In addition, we have problem of land use management with climate change now. Each time we are talking about improvement in food security, enhancement of agricultural productivity, many people thought that it starts with opening up more land, where actually what is needed is intensification, deployment of proven technology for you to enhance the output of your soil, such that your agricultural productivity will be sustainable. So we hope that this National Agricultural Soil Management Policy will enable us achieve all that we need to do to enhance the productivity of our farmers and ensure sustainable agricultural production in Nigeria. With these few opening remarks, I hand over to the
coordinator,
the person coordinating the workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Bello. And please convey our very special greetings to the Permanent Secretary. And I assure him that at the end of this exercise, I will be ready to give him a document that is worthy of this policy for his further action. Thank you, Engineer Bello. And then going back to our agenda, we're into the main issues now, the technical session. It will start off with the presentation by the consultant, the agenda, and the consultant will take us through the chapters. And of course, after then, there will be during the event, during the presentation, there will be an interactive session on each of the chapters. And then we conclude this session, this particular session, with a consensus opinion on the draft policy itself. To lead this technical session is Professor Ogunkule, who is the chairman of the Governing Council. He will lead through the presentation of the draft document by the consultant. He will lead discussions thereafter, and then he will now also conclude with your support, the consensus opinion on the draft policy. Before he takes over, let me please advise that so far it has been very encouraging, our participation and our desire to hear what we have done so far on this policy. But please note that you have to remain muted until you're asked to speak. And if you raise your hands, but if you don't want to speak, you have the chat box to drop your comments or your questions there. Then please let us be organized, because the documents that we all crave for and hope at the end of the day be a pride that we're part of this document. On that note, let me invite Professor Ogunkule to take charge of this technical session and lead us through the presentation, the discussions, and the consensus of opinion. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much for a wonderful opening part of this workshop. May I call on the consultant to present this final draft of the policy? The consultant. Hello? Is everybody hearing me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm hearing.
Yes.
I'm hearing you.
Yes, we are hearing you. Yes.
We are hearing you. I'm hearing you from my side, yeah.
So let me call on the consultant. Can we now unmute, please, and leave the consultant to speak? Can we mute, please, and leave the consultant to speak? Hello?
Yeah.
Professor Ademola, it's your turn now. Do you have any problem, Professor Ademola? Let me reach him by phone, please. Just to be
Please.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes,
we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. You are welcome.
We can hear you now. We can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So before you start, please, can we, because we have a lot to do, can we allot time to the presentation and then to each of these chapters? Can we give the presentation 30 minutes? Is that okay?
You know, the presentation is not going to be as long as 30 minutes because of the chapter discussion. So I'm going to make the presentation as brief as possible.
So can we give you 15 minutes?
Well, I might not even spend up to that, sir. So
wonderful.
So I'm going to make it as concise and precise as possible.
Good.
But let me quickly thank everyone for inviting me once again. The president, the registrar, the honorary commissioner of agriculture across the country, the minister of agriculture, the secretary to the Ministry of Agriculture. Thank you so much for your invitation. So obviously, we have been on this issue of the national development of national agricultural soil management policy for quite some time now, but it is time to do the justice. And I would like to thank everyone who has been involved in the process of putting this policy together. So this morning, let me quickly start with how we are formulating national agricultural soil management policy. So I'm going to start with my presentation this morning with what is soil. Soil is known as soul of infinite life and has 5 basic functions, such as regulating water, sustaining plant and animal life, filtering potential pollutants, cycling nutrients, and providing support for socio-economic structure. But unfortunately, human activity, industrial and agricultural practices continue to damage our soil and deplete its quality, thereby leading to low agricultural productivity and posing a threat to food security in Nigeria. But of course, we need healthy soil, not only because it stores waters and nutrients for plant growth, but also essential for crop production in order to feed humans and turn food scarcity to food abundance. So I'm going to have as 3 questions. Why are we here on the Zoom meeting this morning? So we are here because it's an important meeting to validate national agricultural soil management policy that will help restore and manage soil quality, soil fertility, and reduce soil pollution and soil degradation through appropriate framework, coordination, governance, monitoring, and evaluation. So my second question is, how do we assess soil quality? Of course, soil quality is evaluated to learn about the effect of management practices on soil function, and it falls into following category. So awareness, and education. That is a critical part of soil management practices. Of course, we need to create awareness program for our uneducated, resource-poor farmer about the importance of soil health and agricultural sustainability. And of course, the evaluation of alternate practices. We must go beyond farmers' sort of traditional methods, such as soil smear, soil color, when judging the quality of soil. And conventional methods such as scoring and soil indexing using traditional approach. By adopting improved soil management practices and advanced technology underpinned by strong research and development and program. And of course, assessment as an adaptive management tool. This assessment must guide the performance of all of its functions and how those functions are preserved for future use. Then we talk about indicator to measure the properties of soil, which provide clue about how well the soil can function. Indicator can be physical, can be chemical, and biological. To do a thorough job on assessment of soil function, indicator must be useful in terms of being able to measure, understand changes in soil function, and be accessible, to user, and be applicable in field conditions, sensitive to variation in climate and management. We need to know how these indicators are affected by management practices and how they relate to the productivity, stability, and sustainability of farming system. And that is why we have to promote soil research and development program. Research is needed to quantify the indicator. Or if you could please mute your speaker, I really appreciate it, because I'm seeing some sort of interference there. So we have to promote soil R&D program. Research is needed to quantify the indicator or attribute of soil quality into various indices that can accurately and reliably characterize the state of soil quality as affected by management practices and environmental stresses. So what is my last question? How do we carry out this type of research? And how are the findings disseminated and stored in our databases, as well as being used to inform decision? Given my interaction with various stakeholder groups on the status of Nigerian soils and challenges associated with it, I think we are far from evidence-based research driven by technological innovation that is related to advances in soil science and future direction in soil research. In a modern network society, interaction with stakeholder groups, including farmers, scientists, government officials, public and non-governmental organizations on soil management practice, help address the concern and the interest of these stakeholders to formulate and implement soil management policy. And that is what I've done as a consultant, to ensure that every relevant stakeholder, including women and youth, is heard and carried along in decision-making process, leading to development of national agricultural soil management policy. When I travel to various places in Nigeria, interview them, and those that I made phone calls to. Our review meeting on March 3rd, 2022, where various stakeholder groups came together to accept and critique the policy draft, is an example of stakeholder engagement and participation in policy formulation. We ensure this policy that will be discussed and validated today went through rigorous process of review by checking every chapter content, including the tables and figures. I believe the team that I led has met requirements and expectation for the overall benefits of Nigeria as spelled out in the policy draft. Without a doubt, stakeholder comment and feedback help improve the quality of national agricultural soil management policy draft. Today's stakeholder engagement is to ensure we have a successful outcome through communication and consultation regarding the validation of the National Agricultural Soil Management Policy. Finally, with improved soil management practices through adoption and the implementation of National Agricultural Soil Management Policy at the state and national level, we want to increase crop productivity that leads to longevity or sustainability of crop production, while ensuring food security and increased level of income and enhanced quality of life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir.
I guess Professor Ogunkunle want to make some remarks. Otherwise, I will go straight to the issue and responses emerging from stakeholder review of National Agricultural Soil Management Policy on March 3rd, in the absence of remark from Professor Ogunkunle. Can everyone hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you. Good morning.
Yes, we can hear you.
So I don't know. I thank so much. I don't know if Professor Ogunkunle has got some sort of comment, remark on my presentation. Otherwise, I will go on to the issue and responses that emerged from the stakeholder review of National Agricultural Soil Management Policy on March 12, 2022.
You can go on. Go on, Prof.
Okay, great, sir.
Go
on. Today again is an opportunity to look at each chapter of this policy. So I'm going to start with the first two chapters, and both of them are going to run concurrently, which is the Agricultural Development, Soil Protection and Management Policy in Nigeria. The first two chapters of sorry, I'm going to be using the word NASMP to sort of give me some time to breathe because the name sounds quite long. Address the agricultural development, current status of soil, land and water resource policy, and national environmental policy for conservation, enhancement of soil quality, irrigation use efficiency, and farming system and environmental management. This chapter also addressed the importance of relevant policy for effective implementation of soil management policy in Nigeria. Specifically, it means that policy trusts aim at the implementation of NASMP, especially in the context of protecting topsoil, improving soil fertility, land and water productivity of watershed area, and ultimately enhancing agricultural production and economic growth. So, of course, why policy trust? What can we do better to minimize soil degradation and maximize soil fertility for improved agricultural productivity across soil science related subjects? Of course, we can achieve that through scientific and interdisciplinary assessment of management practices. In this regard, we identify fundamental soil-related issue rationale and strategy to foster sustainable soil management practices. We did not only check to ensure they are relevant for policy trust, but they also fit in the context of sustainable soil management policy. So we need a robust soil management policy that provide relevant background on agricultural production and strategy for formulation and implementation of the policy. As many of us may know, agricultural sector in Nigeria contribute approximately 30% to the Nigerian GDP over the past 3 decades, and is critical to economic growth and food security and nutrition. So what are the key issues raised in chapter 1 and chapter 2, and how have I responded to them? Issue 1, redundancy including the status of Nigeria soil and agroecological zone were removed from the chapter, as some of the stakeholders that participated in the review complain about the bulkiness of the draft. So the response from me here is they were refined, haven't been removed. They were refined and polished and converted into appendices, pretty much supplementary materials, not essential part of the draft, but may provide some sort of understanding on formulation of soil management policy. So issue 2 raised to provide relevant act and law that may be missing, including years that are relevant to apply to the formulation and implementation of NASMP. So response, appropriate adjustments were made in terms of phrases, replacement of words, sentences, and updates are not going to be provided where necessary. So I've summarized what has happened in chapter 1 and chapter 2 of the National Agricultural Soil Management Policy. And if there is any sort of remark, comments, or feedback, I will be more than happy to take the note down and use it to improve the quality of the draft policy after our validation meeting today. Thank you very much, sir. That's it. I've just covered chapter 1 and chapter 2. So before I go on to chapter 3 and chapter 4, I would like to hear from for everyone, or if there's anyone specifically that want to, highlight some point that needs some clarification, please.
Okay, yeah.
There is a hand up, please.
Yes, there's a one from Waziri.
Please go ahead, sir.
Sir, my name is Abana Waziri Abba. Please, before the chapter 1 and 2, I want clarification under acknowledgement. The appreciation, you said Department or U.S. Department of Agriculture, and you mentioned USAID. I don't know, the appreciation goes to the Department of Agriculture and at the same time USAID or what? I need clarification on that under acknowledgement.
Yeah, sorry, Prof. Let me quickly come in. I think it was a mistake which we have taken note of. We will put that right. It's supposed to be USAID, and it's not Department of Agriculture. Please note that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So in the absence of question, comments, may I kindly ask to proceed?
Excuse me.
Oh,
Excuse me, please.
Okay, sir, go ahead, sir.
No, Prof, sorry, if I may come in. Prof, you know that Professor Ogunkule is moderating this session with you. Okay, and I think he has to be left to ask you to move to the next chapters if we are all satisfied.
Yeah, point taken. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that intervention. What I've been saying mainly now is that our people are not disciplined. There's still disturbance. That's number one. Please mute yourself. It's only when you want to talk that you are mute. It's only the presenter that should be speaking. Please. You hear that again? That's how undisciplined we are. Where you are disturbing everybody, please.
And so here or something is the one talking. You don't know.
Well, it's not right anyway.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof.
Yes.
And some people are talking in the background at all. If they could move away from where there is some sort of
once it's muted, it will not come in. Once you mute yourself,
when you should mute his loudspeaker.
That's all. That's all. It's indiscipline.
The microphone should not.
Once you want to talk in your house where you are, then mute yourself. Make sure you don't disturb us. Thank you. There's a hand up now.
In the alternative, the host can mute everybody.
That's it. Can the host do that? And the only danger is when I want to talk, you have to, I don't know how I will contact the host.
You will do that. You can unmute yourself again, but you can always continue.
All right.
With us.
Somebody was raising his hand now. Who is that?
If you lure.
The hand is gone now.
No, it's on.
Okay, yeah, I can see it now. Yes, that's Professor Adediran. Can you speak now? Oh my God. Professor Adediran, do you want to speak?
Ife Oluwa, Mr. President.
Then we can continue. The person doesn't want to speak.
No. It is a lie that
oh my God. couldn't. Control the host. I'm now on. Yes, thank you.
Hello, this is
Yes.
Ifeoluwa.
Yes, Ifeoluwa, where have you been? We have been looking for you, calling you.
Yes, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, the host muted me when I was trying to unmute, but I'd been muted. And
Now can you
people
speak,
that
please?
Okay, so I was going to say that the host can mute everybody. That was what I was going to say, and someone had addressed it, but because my name was called, I just had to clarify that. Thank you.
That's okay. Can we continue, please? Professor Adenle, if there are no more comments on the first two chapters, can you proceed? Hello? Can you unmute Professor Adenle, please?
Yeah, I think can you hear me, sir?
Okay. Can you continue?
Thank you, sir.
All right.
I'm moving on to chapter 3 and chapter 4, the importance of research and developments for soil management practices and private sector partnership in enhancing soil quality and agribusiness development.
Is that chapter 3? Sorry?
Chapter 3 and chapter 4, yes. Chapter 3
Technological innovation and accessibility.
Yes, R&D,
soil quality and agribusiness.
That's correct, sir. That's correct.
Because what you said is different from what is in your chapter.
You are right. I've just rephrased it on my discussion page. So I have sorry, I should have read directly from the draft.
Please.
Yeah. So I'm going to chapter 3 and chapter 4 right now. So Nigerian government need to pay adequate attention to rapid soil degradation and declines in soil fertility as one of the major constraints to agricultural production in the country. It is important to know the degree or severity of soil problem and how they are perceived by key stakeholders, especially farmers and scientists, and what soil management techniques are required to address this problem. So soil R&D is key to gain insight into changes in soil management practices that are driven by biophysical, which I mentioned earlier in my presentation, biological, physical, and chemical property, than the technological and socio-economic factors. But given limited soil R&D in Nigeria, especially that is underpinned by modern soil techniques, it is important to engage researchers across different disciplines, soil scientists, agronomists, economy, etc., and identify research challenges in soil management practices and to tackle the challenges via optimal implementation of practices and technologies. And of course, systemic interdisciplinary approach to protect soil from degradation and soil and maintain its function. Stakeholder, with regards to this particular chapter 3, stakeholder overwhelmingly agree with the highlight of this chapter that underscore investment in research and development, collaboration and knowledge sharing, and transfer of technology for promoting sustainable soil management practices. And it should be championed by the establishment of new Center for National Soil Research. Although multiple champions mentioned, I believe the state government will play an important role in this regard, while being led by the national government with the help of Nigerian Institute of Soil Science and of course, the proposed Center for National Soil Research. So the private sector partnership was an important issue that was raised during the review of the first meeting in Abuja on March 3rd, 2022. So obviously the stakeholder mentioned that soil R&D should not be limited to universities and research institutes alone. In fact, soil health assessment can be shaped by private sector led R&D to enhance soil quality and foster data-based practices that do not only increase our understanding of soil capacity to function, but also to provide soil services in Nigeria. So that is why we talk about that was when we talked about a demand-driven research output promoted through integrated soil fertility management that can encourage the utilization of relevant research output from the public sector, as emphasized by stakeholder at the first meeting we had in Abuja. Of course, that will mean that soil R&D should also be initiated, sponsored, financed by the private sector to foster agribusiness development in the country. For example, private sector owns specialized lab for soil testing, establishment of fertilizer blending plant can enhance soil quality and improve agribusiness. Stakeholders also agreed that a multi-stakeholder approach that encourages collaboration between the university, research institute, and private industry through soil R&D exchange programs and training would be very important, particularly to enhance agribusiness. In a nutshell, soil R&D should be industry focused and collaborative, and should create an opportunity to launch an ecosystem service market to monetize soil earth. I mean, how we are going to do that, I guess is something we need to deliberate on. But of course, putting this part of this element of ecosystem service market to monetize soil is very, very important in this modern day. There are no issue whatsoever after thoroughly discussing this chapter. Few corrections implemented as per stakeholder suggestion. Spelling also corrected after I did diligent check across this particular chapter. The good news here is stakeholders are all on the same page in the light of reducing soil degradation and maintaining healthy soil via research and development program, particularly at the states and national level. But we must start with the latter. Of course, latter is, I mean, we must start with the latter, which is obviously the federal government. So I will stop right here to ask if there is any comment on the chapter 3 and chapter 4 that I've just summarized very briefly. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. There are two hands up now. Razak Adekola, do you want to make your contribution? Mr. Ade or Dr. Mr. Adekola? Can you unmute Razak Adekola and Professor J. Adedina? Their hands are up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, is that Adekola?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. First of all, let me thank the organizers of this important workshop. Without wasting our time, I had an issue because I had wanted to make comment concerning chapters 1 and 2, but unfortunately, I had network problem. And as I was getting over that problem, I discovered that there was general audio problem. So I was praying that the presenter had not completed that presentation, but unfortunately, he had completed it. But I still want to make comments as to our inputs to those chapters. I remember we make some inputs, and I was trying to go through to compare the one we worked on and the one that is being presented. I discovered that some of our comments were not implemented. Especially, I recall in chapter 1.2, paragraph 2, we made a comment as to the types of farming. I think that's around 1.2, paragraph 2 or so of that 1.2. It's trying to list overgrazing and deforestation as type of farming, and we call attention of the consultant to that particular area, that those two problems, they are challenges. They cannot be described as type of farming. And I discovered that it is still being retained. Apart from that, there are other ones. Even the whole of chapter 2, all these sub chapters under that chapter, there are even paragraph 3 and 4. I don't know whether we have to submit our comment, or I don't know. Just thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I think those are very serious aspects of the this thing, and what you are calling farming, they are not, they are challenges, all right? And they must actually be corrected. Right.
Sorry, if I may interrupt, sir, can you just tell me what page? Maybe if you look at the page, that will make life a lot easier, because
what he said, please, what he said, if you follow his chapter something, point something, that will take you to any page that is relevant. Well, Dr. Adekola, can you tell us again?
Yes, that is why I also like to talk about the numbering of the documents, because it's a national document. We have to maintain consistency in the numbering. For example, you have under that chapter 2 subheadings where you try to describe policies. Those are subheadings, but they were not numbered. So it becomes difficult making reference to a particular line or even a paragraph in the document.
But there are paragraphs under them.
Yes, I know. So like what I'm talking about is, I think it's under 1.2. 1.2, where there are the first comments. Soil, land, and water resources management, 1.2.
Which paragraph?
Paragraph 2. I think it's first under paragraph 2. We start with Nigeria rapidly growing.
Okay, yes. I think anybody will get that. Go on.
Yes.
The other one?
They are down the line. The whole paragraph 2, I think it will be time consuming trying to take the workshop. Yes, it will be time consuming.
You can submit it later.
Yes.
But please, kindly make it very clear and concise, because we try as much as possible to address some of the concerns raised during the first meeting in Abuja. Sir, I would appreciate when it's clearly spelled out, specifically where you want us to address. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Professor Adediran. Professor Adediran. Maybe we have missed him.
No, I'm around. I'm around.
All right.
Yes, thank you very much. I really applaud the document, and I believe that by doing justice today to it, it will be a very, very good document for future use, especially in terms of the policy for Nigeria. Well, I want to start from introduction. I just want to mention the page and the paragraph and the issue concerned. If we go to page 5, paragraph 1, where we say lack of implementation of appropriate environmental law and so on and so forth, mentioning some states where these problems are. They say they encourage the destruction of agricultural arable land in southern, mentioning Oyo, Osun, etc. Then in the northern region, Sokoto, I believe we should be able to give more examples, because it's a document that will last for a long time, and there should be more examples to add to this one. Then when we go to the issues that are concerned, issue number 5, I want us to add that failure to conduct adequate research, disseminate and implement technologies, because dissemination is also very important, especially for extensionists in that regard, especially just to add the disseminate to it is very, very important. I think you are getting me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, when we go to page 8, action required, that's when we have to put the technology dissemination. Also, we have to, it's good we insert technology dissemination. That means action required, number 1. The highest priority should be accorded to research and development and technology dissemination, underpinned by analysis. This will bring in the extensionists. Then we go to the chapter 2, 2.1, history of soil protection and management measures. These are being described in from page 9 to 12 when we talk about the policies. I want to say that is it not good to add programs that were also involved in agricultural development, especially that concern the soil management issues.
Such
If we
as?
can get some, maybe this national land, NLDA, this National Land Development Authority, agency or whatever, that was, the program was established some time ago, but it's no more.
You mean NALDA? You mean
NALDA,
NALDA?
National Agricultural Land Development Authority, or whatever. Yes, I think we have other programs that also promote soil management that are no more involved.
But
yes.
Those are additions, NALDA.
Yes, they are additions, yes. If we go to page 13, where we mention actors' participation, rules, understanding, and partnership, I think it's good where we mention the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development will ensure that all the stakeholders, I want us to include collaboration with international organizations, agencies, and NGOs. This will bring them in the policy.
Under which one is that?
Under on page 13, actors participation rules 221.
Yes.
221.
Yes.
It's good we include collaboration with international organizations, agencies, and NGOs.
Action, participant and rules.
Yes.
So that's
page 14.
That will be bullet
it's an
4.
addition.
That will be
yes.
bullet 4.
Bullet 4, yes.
Okay.
Page 14, education and awareness, where it is mentioned that the Nigerian Institute of Soil will work with the National Orientation Agency and use print and electronic media, including social media platforms. It's not only and use social media, print and electronic media can also be included to,
That's okay.
Then
I think that is understood.
Yes. Soil mapping, monitoring, that's 211.
No, 223.
211. 211.
Monitoring and processing.
223.
It's 223.
Soil mapping. Yes, soil mapping, please. Yes, I could see that the work that has been done, which is being quoted here, is okay. But is there no any information about southern Nigeria? Because all work that is being mentioned here is northern Nigeria.
But you should have called me. I didn't know you were going to come today. Are you at the gate? Are you at the gate in my house?
All right.
Even all the celebrating social media that is causing wahala. Why they want to look like their friends? They want to look like
Can you mute them?
Excuse me.
They are disturbing us. Professor Adedina is still talking. Hello.
Yes. Can I go on, please?
Yes, and you have very. We give you maybe 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Yes, I will soon finish. Under 2433, and where we have 2434, environmental sustainability, land, that's page 23 to page 24. I think it's good to include the problems which these land or estate developers are given to agriculture. What I mean by that is that they've disturbed some land that even farmers had to run away from it. If we can bring that factor in this area, I think it will be good for the policy.
Well, then there should be good examples to support.
Some estate developers, they will destroy almost, let's say, thousands of hectares of agricultural land without remote. Yes.
We know. So
remote. If something can be done to,
if we
can.
Can you put it together in a concrete way, please? Can we go forward? There's another hand, please, Who is the third person?
My name is Olaiwole Onosoya, sir.
All right.
Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Government.
All right.
Now, I just want to add to what Professor Adediro has said.
Yes.
Yes, for some states like Lagos and some other states, there is the issue of encroachment on agricultural land.
Yes.
Especially where there is competing uses. But I think the solution has to do with development of farm estates. And by that way, we can consolidate land for agriculture. Not only consolidating land, but also the issue of youth into agriculture, youth engagement to agriculture. By that, we may be able to consolidate land, as well as even encourage youth to get into agriculture. And by consolidating these lands, as soil scientists, we can able to monitor soil quality, management of the soils, and so on. I think that is one of the major issues. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I believe encroachment is important. Yeah. The area of youth inclusion is another thing entirely concerning soil management.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Make progress? The consultant, Professor Adenle.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the comment and the feedback. We will ensure that every comment and feedback is implemented in the draft. So I'm moving on to.
No, let's ask them again. We have covered up to chapter 4 now.
That's correct, sir.
Yes.
That's correct. So we are going to chapter 5 and chapter 6.
Sorry, Prof, somebody's hand is up.
Who is that?
SS.
No, Professor Norma.
That's Professor Norma.
Yeah,
okay. Professor Norma, can you speak?
Yes, sir. Chairman and members. I was just looking at it that some of us that are insiders in the development of contribution of the policy will have given more time to our esteemed commissioners that are seeing the document for the first time. If we want to take much comment from us, that will limit the time that they will have to make comments.
Sorry.
I know, for instance, the Commissioner for Agri Sokoto State has been saying that they have been there for long, and they will have liked to get in what we do, because some of them may not stay through to the end of the whole program.
Oh, all right. Yes, I think what we may first do, so that we will not miss their contribution, is at this stage, before we go to 5, 6, and 7, let's ask people who want to go early and have something to contribute to now take the stage. Is there anybody like that? Particularly those who are not opportune to see it from the beginning, even they didn't participate in the last validation. Please.
The commissioners, Mr. President. The commissioners.
The commissioners, please.
Yes, Sokoto can start.
Sokoto, let Sokoto speak now. Sokoto, Commissioner for Agriculture. If you have anything you want to contribute, please do. Can they hear me? Professor Norma, can you call your commissioner to come and talk?
Okay, let me get across to him.
Or he can send the contribution to you. If you know it, you better say it.
Mr. President, meanwhile, let's continue, please.
I think so. When he comes, he tells us. Thank you very much.
I think he's back. Professor Norma is back.
Professor Norma?
Right, I think I will proceed, sir.
Let's proceed.
Let's proceed.
Okay, so I'm on chapter 5.
Yes. Yes.
So this chapter focuses on the framework, governance, and policy analysis underpinned by scientific and interdisciplinary.
Okay, that's all right.
This chapters focus on the framework, governance, and policy analysis underpinned by scientific and interdisciplinary assessment of soil management practices and natural resources such as water, biodiversity that provide important evidence base for decision making at the farming or policy making level. So chapter 5 actually touches on natural as science aspect of soil management, processes, functions, and increasing role of social economy research, which is what I call interdisciplinary setting, that can help better understand the full complexity, opportunities, and challenges to sustainable soil management practices in Nigeria. This particular chapter sets out some guidelines and practices provided in 3 different frameworks to foster the implementation of a national agricultural soil management policy in Nigeria. So as is represented in the figure, I know I've had some sort of comment why do we have 3 figures, and I provide detailed explanation on those 3 figures as to why we have each of this figure for the framework, which is we have figure 2. I hope I've not amended that, scientific and socio-economic approach. We have data, information, and knowledge, and we have soil knowledge business chain. So in this regard, stakeholders discussed and agree on 2 main important points and issues, and came up with potential intervention in light of this framework. Number 1, they talk about the collaboration among all disciplines of science and social sciences while examining and interpreting their results in the context of soil, water, and land management strategy, interaction, and trade-off for effective implementation of the national agricultural soil management policy. And then, of course, the role of state government is crucial here, and that is why we have to bring state and national government together to agree on the selection of indicators for useful and informative accounts, and to encourage the country to have, bless you, sir, and to encourage the country to adopt a unified approach. So the interaction between scientists at the state level and national level is crucial in terms of looking at what sort of framework should be used in assessing the soil health, and how can that inform decision making, particularly with regards to the implementation of the National Agricultural Soil Management Policy. I must confess, this is one of the most interesting points discussed among the stakeholders. So the response actually led to intervention that requires short, medium, and long-term plan matrix, comprising strategies, specific projects with identified problem, responsible stakeholders, and duration. So what we did here is the stakeholder agreed and came up with a table. A table was created for this specific purpose and was incorporated into the policy draft.
They are related.
So that is chapter 5.
But anytime number
if you've got any comments with regards to chapter 5, I think this is time to talk. Otherwise, I'll move.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Adenle. I cannot see any hand up yet. Oh, there's Trenchard. Professor Ibia. Professor Ibia. Host, can you unmute Professor Ibia, Trenchard Ibia?
I am on, Chairman.
All right.
Since this is a policy document, we should, as much as possible, make committal statements. Since we're not proposing anything again, we're just, this is a policy document. So on 5.3.
5.3.
The second part, but on page 43, the first. There's a
5.3.
Yes. That paragraph. The issues of contaminated site, you wouldn't find. I think we should that model. You with me, sir? Hello?
Hello?
Are you with me?
I'm with you. I don't know whether the presenter is with us.
I'm with you, but it's quite faint.
Yeah.
I could not hear him properly.
Okay.
So
it's talking of that since this is now a policy, we are expected to make a committer, not a proposer, kind of. All right, and it's referring to section 5.3 on governance and institutional capacity.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that our statement there is like a recommendation we are telling them to take. All right.
Okay, sir. I think Professor Ibia should please, if you could tell us precisely how you want that particular paragraph be phrased.
Okay.
We will appreciate that, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, let me read the first one. The issues of soil degraded and contaminated sites should commitment.
Yes.
Research institutions should be supported. Shall be supported by the federal government.
Shall be supported or should be supported?
Should is a proposal. Research institutions shall be supported by the federal and state governments.
Yes, should be.
So those are the points.
I agree with that. Professor Adele, are you following?
Yes, I'm following, sir. I'm following, sir.
All right. Any more? Okay, there are other hands. President Waka, GIC Waka. Can you hear me? Professor Waka. What of Professor Adedina? You have something?
Okay. Are you hearing me? Professor Waka is talking now. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you speak?
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I have been raising up my hand. I wanted to add something to what Professor Dediro said. Now he mentioned now that we have entirely omitted or forgotten about river development, river basin development authority. Within this sense, they are in charge of management of land, and it is very important in what we are doing. Right. Where are the river basin? Again, there were organizations. There were organizations that existed before, like NISDAP, Northeast Arizona Development Authority, that were that was in charge of management of management against the certification, and they packed up in the late 90s. Organizations should be encouraged to be reformed and encouraged to come back again to do their work. Yes, this is what I want to add to what Professor Dediron said. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Well, it's not every one that has been closed down that should come back. It depends on their usefulness.
Yes, they were very useful, Prof. They were very useful.
They don't know what they were contributing anyway.
Yes, I was a consultant there. Yes.
We can mention them. Aminu Abubakar.
Yeah, Commissioner of Agriculture, Sokoto State, Mr. President.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Earlier I was with you at the opening ceremony, and I was there when the consultant made his presentations. And I have also gone through the hard copy you have sent to me. They contain very good messages and intentions to improve our agricultural production. And that's one. I also wish to extend my support, state support on the document policy, and I like the academic discussions that has been going on to improve the document. So I say congratulations to the Soil Science Institute and everybody that has made it possible. So I will not be able to continue the meeting, but I existed before. But I later come back. I send my messages, and I wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. We are encouraged. Thank you. Greet your people in Sokoto for us. All right, shall we continue? Any other contribution before we move? Because nobody, okay, you are yet to speak on the on chapter 6, please.
What of other commissioners, please?
Other commissioners. If people are not talking, we will not force them to talk. All right? All the commissioners have the right to talk now because they are gathering with us for the first time. And we want contributions.
Mr. President.
Yes.
The zonal coordinators were advised, encouraged to bring their commissioners, and Northwest got the Sokoto State Commissioner for Agriculture to speak. I'm so impressed.
All right.
Adediran, where are your commissioners?
What?
French Chad, where are your commissioners? So proceed, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Can the yes? Can the presenter continue? President.
Thank you so much, sir. I think I have the floor to proceed.
Yes, please.
So we are looking at this chapter 6 now.
Yes.
Which has to do with the effect. I could hear some noise in the background.
Sorry, Prof. Somebody just made a complaint in the chat box that he was not allowed to speak, Professor Akande.
Who says so?
Dr. Akande, I think he's raising his hand physically, not electronically.
Okay, Dr. Akande, we can't see your hand, but you can speak.
Yes, okay. Thank you, sir. Prof. I'm speaking from Owerri, from Federal College of Land Resources Technology. Owerri.
Okay, you are welcome. Please speak.
Okay, my concern, since this is a policy matter, and my concern is about the enrollment of students in soil science technology in all our institutions. The enrollment has not been very encouraging, and I don't know the policy matter. I don't know how we can put in something that will enable us to harness some of these students who are running away from soil science to another discipline. So this is just my contribution to start with now. So maybe we'll talk about other issues.
We know that, and we believe things are improving.
Okay, sir.
That aspect we will also handle by the grace of God.
Okay, sir.
Dr. Blessing Agada, I can see your hand up.
I just wanted to this policy document, and I've also in line with the Nigerian agricultural. Into 400 levels as part of Annex.
We cannot hear you properly.
Hello?
Yes, it's very faint.
I was saying, it's a policy where we can have 400 students during their practical year serve as a course, because most times what we've seen external officers mentioning in chapter 1 about that they may not Why you take policy to them cannot really explain to the farmers, some of the farmers. So we will try to take agriculture where 400 students of soil science, unless more of the science are so I was thinking this is to be
I'm sorry, I have not had a lot of what you said, but I believe the part I had is about how the farmers' understanding of this kind of policy. Am I right? I can't even
scientists being able to pass that, having our own students.
Father, we thank you.
I will drop it in the chat, sir. Not get me. Let me not.
All right. Well,
I think Dr. Blessing.
Yeah. You can put it in the chat, please.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Mr. President.
Yes.
The Commissioner for Agriculture of Zamfara State, Ibrahim Jibo, give him a chance to speak, please.
Let him speak, please.
Hello.
Commissioner of Agriculture of Zamfara State.
Online, sir, Mr. President.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you, yes.
From our end here, we appreciate your time to educate us more on this paper, on this document. And we appreciate and we are behind you, and we are ready to go with the document at any time that it go to National Executive Council for after approval all the green area and what are supposed to be done by state. We queue in and do it. Bro, thank you for your time to do the job, and we are willing to adopt whatever in the policy. Thank you very much. May God bless the job. May God bless the Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For the people from Zamfara, greet them for us.
They were here. No, we are on it. We are on it. We pray for everybody, sir.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other person? Any other person that wants to talk? Professor Adediran, where is your commissioner or your commissioners? Where are they?
I'm trying to connect with them. I'm trying to connect with them.
All
they
right.
were ready. They were ready.
Okay. All right. Professor Ibia. Professor Trenchard, Ibia, where are your commissioners? The PAMSEC from Lagos, where are your commissioners? Where are your commissioners? We want them to comment.
Professor, my Ogasa.
Yes.
I think the issue is that I'm representing myself as a soil scientist, sir.
But you are from the ministry, you are the head.
No, I'm no more in the Ministry of Agriculture. As the PAMSEC, you can go anywhere. Okay. I'm not PAMSEC in charge of Independent Electoral Commission, sir.
All right, understand.
I think Professor Adediran should do that, sir. Yes,
you
sir.
are right. You are right.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anyway, Mr. President, the two commissioners that have spoken so far, we'll take it that they've spoken for their colleagues in other parts of the country. Let's proceed. Let's proceed.
All right. Can the consultants take up the chapter 6?
Yes, sir. The chapter 6 is based on the effective coordination of implementation of National Agricultural Soil Management Policy by the key stakeholders. Yes. And of course, the availability of resources is critical. So the issue that were raised here by the stakeholders during the meeting on March 3rd stakeholders believe a coordinated monitoring program that encompasses the analysis. I'm being interrupted.
Can you mute people so that only myself and the presenter will be left? Go on, sir.
Right. Thank you so much. So stakeholders believe a coordinated monitoring program that encompasses analysis of soil processes, soil function, and indicators for the implementation of the National Agricultural Soil Management Policy at the state and federal level should be discussed. The responses I got from key stakeholders that were, from the stakeholders that participated at the meeting on March 3rd is NIS and the proposed Center for National Soil Research Center will be leading and providing a reporting template aligned with the appropriate framework on soil quality and soil health assessment, containing appropriate milestones, indicators, and frequency through periodic monitoring and evaluation carried out on annual basis. And this template should take cognizance of the ranges and trends of soil quality and soil health in different agroecological zones across the country. The best indicator of soil quality, like I've said, may probably differ according to agroecological zone, agroclimatic factors, and farming system. For example, it's likely that the soil quality indicator will be quite different for paddy rice in the north compared to the crop growing in well-drained soil in the south. So they emphasize that monitoring and evaluation sources will be largely determined by available technical expertise, facilities, and infrastructure, as well as the types of training provided to the monitoring and evaluation officer within the national, state, and local government. So therefore, assessment reports from M&E, that is a monitoring and evaluation, should be determined and announced on the during the celebration of World Soil Day. So, and that is pretty much what I've summarized from the stakeholder engagement on the March 3rd, 2022. So if there is any comment on chapter 6, I think we'll be happy to take it and use it to improve the quality of the draft. Thank you very much.
Can we contribute if we have anything? Contributions? Any hand up? Are you hearing me? Hello?
I can hear you, sir.
Okay.
All
right. Okay. Now, let's move.
Can I contribute to chapter 7, sir?
We have not reached there. We are not going there.
Okay, I was calling my commissioner. Sorry. Okay.
We are going to chapter 7 now, implementation plan.
All right, please.
Yes. Professor Adele.
The chapter 7,
Sorry, Prof. Let me just read the comment from one Christopher Wakocha. He has said that legal institutions under the policy in page 8 and advocate that the NARS, especially those that are crop-based, should be included under institutions with their rules and particular institutions mentioned under key linkages. That is a comment on the chat box. Please, Professor Dele, take note of that. If you open your chat box, you'll see it.
Right. And I do believe, because I can't do everything concurrently, I do believe there is someone who is obviously helping with
the we are now. I'm asking you, we will get all this for you, but take note of it.
Fantastic. I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, can you continue, please?
Yes, we're going to the last chapter now, chapter 7. Yes. The available chapter from 1 to 6 with detailed information on Nigerian soil history, soil quality, soil R&D, and soil management practices, among others, led to the introduction of 10 recommendations to ensure effective implementation of National Agricultural Soil Management Policy. Here, I'm not going to be able to go through all the 10 recommendations, but I'm going to talk about fundamental 3 points that were raised in the course of our discussion or meeting on March 3rd, 2022. Overwhelming consensus of establishment of a Center for National Soil Research was emphasized among the stakeholders, particularly by working closely with regional designated university and research institute. That is very important. That's the only way the center can be successful and run and coordinate the research across the states within the country. So, and they said that Center for National Soil Research must access ecological fund, as soil management practices through ecological restoration can ameliorate degraded and disturbed soils. So therefore, ecological fund should be provided to support soil R&D activities. And although we have not been able to sort of describe how we are going to access ecological fund, the sort of criteria we need to meet, et cetera, but I think that has been highlighted in the recommendation. So national government should build and maintain a national soil information system through the creation of national soil map that capture different types of soil and their characteristics across the state in the country. So those are the 3 key points that were raised in this recommendation. And I guess there will be some comments, and if there's anything we did not touch on in the recommendation that I've mentioned, I think this is the best time to address each of these recommendations and see what we can include there. Thank you very much, sir. And finally, because this is the last chapter, after implementing all the correction and addressing all the issues raised by the stakeholders at the meeting on March 3rd, 2022, Professor Ayo Ogunkunle, the chairman, Professor Victor Chude, the Nigerian Institute of Soil Science registrar, also the coordinators and other relevant stakeholders were provided with the revised National Agricultural Soil Management Policy draft, highlighting the changes, highlighting in the draft. So thank you very much. I think I've been able to go through all the 7th chapter in the policy drafts, and I do believe that whatever comment that emerge, feedback that will be provided in today's validation meeting will be used to improve the quality of the policy. And if there is anything that we have been unable to touch that you have not been able to say during this meeting as well, I guess you can actually write it down and send it to us as well. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And now let's have our comments again.
Yeah, Prof, let me come in now.
All right.
To say that thank you, Professor Adele, for the presentation. But you see, we are still not there in our policy presentation of this document. This document is supposed to be a document of government, not the document of Soil Science Institute of Nigeria or anywhere. So there must be some committal statement from government. Yes. The issue of making recommendations on this policy document does not arise in the sense that this is a policy of government. Who are you making recommendations to? The same government? So we have to address the language in the whole setting to portray what a policy document is like.
Correct.
Yes, we have to do.
I agree with that.
Thank you very much.
So if I may respond to that, I think that's a good point. But what I think, there are certain things that should be done within the policy in terms of implementation. So how do we communicate that to the government? Because this is government, it belongs to the government. But how how can government ensure that they perform their duty?
That is what we are saying. That's what we are saying, Prof.
But how do you articulate that?
We get a document out on implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. And it is not a document that will now tell government what to do. It becomes a document of government at the end of the day. So we are all the recommendations we have put here should be coined in statements from government itself. Not that it will now for us to tell government what to do in a policy document of government. The language must be from government. There must be commitments. I'm sure Professor Ibia had mentioned that earlier. And when we look through the whole thing, we find that we are making recommendations, and it doesn't tell of a policy document. I don't know. We'll put that right anyway. Thank you.
Any other comments? I believe it's like the stamp of government is yet to be on it.
I think it's our own submission to the government, and government will now do the normal justice before ratifying it. That's what I believe. So I think
the document.
Yes.
I've spoken to Professor Chude. What we plan to do after this meeting is to set up a committee for the finalization of this document.
Yes.
The committee will look at it critically in terms of how it's supposed to be placed in the right words, the right language that will depict government's ownership of this policy. If you want government, if you pass the Minister of Agriculture and you expect them to do it for you, they will never do it. They don't have the time. And it's your responsibility to do so on their behalf. And that's why we've now gone this far and this length. And so what we're going to do is that we'll put a document out that will show ownership of the policy statements by government and their commitments therein. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I also believe that that last stage, it's so important.
Very important.
And I think between NIS and the Minister of Agriculture, under which NIS operates, must get a committee and with a legal person in the midst.
Yes.
That will put it in the legal language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because actually I have been looking at this and I've been thinking of there should be some is it legislation or whatever, I don't know, that will back it up.
Mm-hmm.
In the
you're right.
Yes, in the way people use land and just encroach and do this and do that. That aspect, we need another committee to straighten out these chapters. And I believe that's our next assignment. With the permanent secretary.
Prof.
Hello.
And that's what we're saying.
So with the permanent can I finish? Can I finish?
Okay.
With the permanent secretary taking into consideration to lead and to guide in all these things. So that's what I believe is now left for us to do. More comments, please.
Yes, my hand up.
Mr. President.
Yes. Professor Waka.
All right.
Yes.
Yes. President Waka.
Mr. Chairman, sir. In chapter 7. Yes, we talked about source survey in chapter 7.
Yes.
Now there's a need to make it very specific. Or more specific. When we talk of source survey, we are talking of a detailed source survey to be published at state level. Let's make it like that. detailed source survey covering the entire country to be published at state level. Much.
Who funds it?
Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you.
Okay. Yes. Yes. I talked of. Let's be specific on the type of survey, and I'm suggesting.
Chairman, my hand is up.
Yes.
A detailed survey to be published at state level.
Let's
tell us that we have done so. Okay.
Yes, it will start from, we are already, they have suggested, is it the resurrection now of the mapping, they are talking of, it has escaped my list. Our system that we use for mapping for accuracy.
Okay, yes.
All right. So what you are saying is already embedded. Professor Waka. Okay. Okay, Razak Adekola, your hand is up.
Yes.
Yes, please. We can't hear you. Unmute him, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Let me give kudos to the consultants for this draft. But I just want to add to what one of the last speakers said, that the document should speak for government, which I want to subscribe to. Yes. Like I did mention to you, it's a national policy. It should be seen as a problem-solving document.
Yes.
Like we take a look at each of the chapters, which presumably is expected to address specific issues. These issues will form the policy statement on behalf of the government. It will also look at the objectives of that statement, what they are set to achieve under each of those chapters, and then the strategies. I want to suggest that those recommendations can be recoined to reflect the policy statement, the objectives, and then the strategies by which those objectives will be achieved under each of the chapters, which I believe have been identified to address issues that have to do with soil management and agri-production in Nigeria. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone, there's another hand up.
Yes, my own has been up since, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, first of all, my commissioner had made a chart. I sent a chart to the audience here. I don't know whether you want to read it. Okay. What he said is the document is good, and he said good morning everywhere, everyone. The document is good development. However, most agricultural lands are being used for building estate. How do we curtail this ugly development in the policy document? That's what the question is, please, so that we reflect that in our policy document. Then I want to add to chapter 7. I want to add something which is very vital. It's one of our challenges that confront our farmers, soil management in the country, and that is soil acidity. I agree in totality with all the challenges stated in the table 1 of the chapter 7. But I want us to add soil acidity so that we make policy objective and supporting program for it. As you know, soil acidity is a serious problem for us. There is potential soil acidity and the real soil acidity and so on, which confronts our farmers. Yeah. That's my suggestion. Yeah, then, lastly, the references. If you go through, because this was the references were being repeated. I don't know, it should be fine-tuned so that it won't go like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. But let me say this, that We cannot be taking out every, having policy for every soil challenge, soil acidity, soil drainage problem. What we need is to control the use of soil in different aspects. There must be control. That is what we are talking about, soil management policy, so that people will not just be abusing the soil to make it acidic, to make it waterlogged when the soil is not waterlogged, to pollute soil with some chemicals. There must be a control. It is that the policy must take note of. That people should not just open the land as they like. All right?
Mr. Chairman, sir, we talked of soil salinity here, soil erosion.
Yes.
Soil acidity.
They are all there. All right? They are all there. Professor Ashadu, are you raising up your hand? Professor Ashadu.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. How is that place?
Well, fine. Actually, the issue of this language, you have said it all, because I wanted to say that what we have done actually is technical. But the language of the government, since we have also some representatives from ministry and so on, since there will be a technical, another committee to look at the language of the policy.
Yes.
I just kept quiet because you have already said it. So we have supplied all the information from our own technical point of view, our scientists. So that committee should be able to address the language issue in the policy so that it becomes government's own policy or government's own language. So by the time they finish it, if there's another opportunity for us to look at it to know whether they have misrepresented what we have said here, then that will be there. I also want to say that this is our commissioners down this side. Honestly, I'm calling, you know, because it appears as if we have not been able to contact them, but we did our best to contact them. So we'll get back and tell them to at least acknowledge the fact that the policy is like that of Dediran said, to support us, support the policy so that everybody will be carried along. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other contribution? Well, if there's no other, what I want to say is this. From what we have done this morning, going to the afternoon, there is enough evidence to show that this is a good policy document, but it's not perfect. And the aspect of imperfection is in the language.
Yes.
Yes, and that is why we need, with all these recommendations, we need a committee of soil scientists, farmers, and legal people to come up.
Scientists only. This thing should be multidisciplinary.
Yes, that's why I said soil scientists, well, maybe land users and legal people, government people.
Yes, government, yes.
Yes. All right, to use the right language to modify all this, and then we are done. I don't know whether somebody wants to. Dr. Nasoya, you are saying something. What? Then,
yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. What I wanted to say is, I think you've addressed it, the issue of Professor Adediran saying soil acidity. I would have preferred that it should have been a macro level, not micro. Like you said, the issue of soil erosion issue of soil salinity, even issue of oil impacted areas and so on. So I think it should be taken in totality. So I think you addressed it, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. President Norman.
Yes, sir. I was just saying, I don't know whether somewhere it was captured. In the note, I observed that when they are constructing roads these days,
yes,
they just open up the way where water can flow, and there's no line, concrete line channels. So the width of the drainage that opens up from the road is usually several times the width of the road at the end of the day, destroying agricultural lands.
Yes.
So I think it's a very bad development, and I think we need to do something against
I
that.
mentioned it in the last this
It is
is
part of soil use control, and we are not. You see, we talk of land use, but now soil use control concerning soil management use, very, very important. All right. So
Yes, sir.
I think I don't. Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I don't think we are
President
talking.
Waka, is that President Waka?
Oluwatosin, please.
Yeah, Professor Waka wants to say something. Yes, sir.
Hold on, President Waka. Let Oluwatosin speak first.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry.
We are not talking.
Oluwatosin wants to say something. Please let us.
Yes. We are not talking of the soil being used. We are talking of the soil being destroyed. If you look, I have pictures where between Ikotepen and Calabar, we see what they did there, and now the land clear road construction destroyed the land there and caused a gully erosion. Between Lokoja and Abuja, we see how the road course are collapsing and destroying the adjacent farms. So there must be a policy. There must be a policy where we state that when roads are being constructed or when other rail lines or roads, whatever construction, the surface court must be stabilized so that it won't cause problem to the adjacent farm. That is what I think we need to put in the document.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
it is still under control of soil use. It is when you use the soil badly, you do something, construction that spoils the soil, that one arises. So it's still part of the general control. The control of the
I agree.
Yes. Now,
President
Waka, are you still there?
I think the hand has been on since.
Yes, but it's no more there. It will
Yes,
come
sir.
back and
Yes. I'm on. Yes,
Okay.
I'm talking now. I'm talking now.
Okay,
Please.
talk now.
Yes, right. You see, this mismanagement of land is countrywide by the engineers. I mentioned about it. Yes, I mentioned about it during the last workshop. Now, what I want to say now is an appeal, sir. When you look at the list of acknowledgement, my name was omitted. What I want to say is that I have been contributing actively on this, to this. And I was chairman of a discussion group during the last workshop. My group contributed actively. I was a member of the monitoring the committee. So I feel that my name should be included in the edition. Yes, sir.
Many people contributed. Only
no, sir. You are the chairman. I'm the vice chairman, and I've been contributing very actively. I should be.
Professor Waka,
we're recognized now.
We've taken care. We take care of that.
We take care of that, please.
We take care of that, sir.
There should be among the list. What's one name?
Please,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Please. You could have done it in another way, but it's okay. All right. Any other contribution? I want to.
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes,
Mr. President. I'm going to take a clean copy of this after all the corrections by the consultant, I'll take it to the ministry. I'll have consultations with the permanent secretary on the next line of action. Yes, we've made our proposals. I know that the document will go to the Department of Planning and Coordination, Planning, Research and Coordination of the ministry for the final decision to be taken. It's at that point that the legal department of the ministry will be involved. They'll look at the recommendations, they look at the write-up itself, and see what kind of language they would use. We cannot commit governments. We cannot at this stage.
Okay.
We will make our recommendations to the ministry. This is what we think as scientists that should be done. And let a special committee to be set up by the ministry. Okay. I know that the acting PAMSEC is there listening today. He knows that that's the procedure. Finally, they will now tidy it up, put it in the shape that it can now go to the Federal Executive Council for consideration and approval. Just information, that's what we'll do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe that makes what we are thinking that a committee should be set up, takes it off our hand. What we need is to now give it to NIS to do the rest and contact the PAMSEC, and all the different contributions will be involved, will be included, and we believe they will give it the right language, and we will be happy about it. When we see the document, we will be happy. I believe we have done a good job, and let's wait and see. Thank you. Let me appreciate every contributor. The farmers, I know we may not hear their voice, but they must have told their commissioners and zonal directors. We want to thank everyone who has taken part. Let's thank particularly the USAID and our consultant. We have engaged him for so long. Thank you very much.
Raji is waiting to do this job.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Raji is waiting. Okay. The chairman has finished. So
okay, let me call Professor Raji, Bashir Raji.
Raji, you are paid. You are paid to do the job. Please do your job.
Please come and do your job.
Thank you, sir. Well, it has been a very fruitful 2.5 hours. We've all been here, and we've all done very good job to this document. My job, which the chairman and the president of NIS has started, is actually to appreciate all those of us who have contributed in one way or the other in making today's event a success. We know that today's event is not an isolated event. It has started way back some years ago. So first and foremost, I want us to give Almighty God, who has spared our life since the beginning of the formulation of this policy, spare our life to see the presentation today and to see the very fruitful contributions from all of us. So we give all glories and adoration to Almighty God. Again, I want to appreciate USAID, FTF Nigeria Agribusiness, who not only supported all the validation meetings we've been having, they've also engaged the consultant, a very competent one, Professor Ademola Adenle, who has actually reviewed and enriched this policy document. Particularly, we want to thank the chief of our party, Olimide Ojo, who has found time to be with us. and the moderator of today's occasion, James Ebuetsi, who has actually handled today's event very, very well. Let me appreciate our employers of NIS, which is the federal government of Nigeria, through the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. We've enjoyed their support from the time NIS has been created by law. We want to particularly thank the present and past ministers who have contributed in making this policy a success. We also want to thank the present and past permanent secretaries, and want to ask Engineer S.T. Bello to please convey our appreciation to the ministry. The inputs of other stakeholders, especially the commissioners of agriculture from the states, very, very highly appreciated. Let me appreciate those commissioners who find time to be with us. Professor Aminu Abubakar, the Commissioner for Agriculture of Sokoto State. Alhaji Ibrahim Jibo, Commissioner for Agriculture from Zamfara State. And Mr. Razak Maruf, that of Oyo State, who all joined us and made substantial input. Using them as a point of contact, we want to thank all other commissioners of agriculture and environment from the states. Though they may not have joined us today, we believe we will still have time to harvest their inputs to enrich our document. Let's finally thank the NIS Governing Council under our able leadership of Professor Yokunkunle, the able registrar of NIS, Professor Victor Okechukwu Chude, the ESCO of Soil Science, all council members, and all senior soil scientists for their inputs, because it has been a long journey, and we thank God that we are coming towards the end of it, a fruitful end. Let me lastly appreciate the gentlemen of the press. We are going to need them when we go to the public. Distinguished colleagues, we thank you all for being with us since 2.5 hours ago. Stay blessed.
Yeah, let me just permission of the meeting, ask that we put on our video so that we can document our pictures for this meeting. Start our video so that we can document our pictures for this meeting, please. You ready? Everybody, thank you for your time, and thank you on behalf of the Chief of Party, Olumide Ojo. Thank everybody for participation. And the next steps, we'll discuss next steps with today, and then come out with what we think is a document for submission to government. But so far, thank you for everything. Thank you, Professor Bukule, for moderating excellently the session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the very quality participation, contributions you made. And we assure you that we have progressed to the next stage with the completion of this exercise. But further details will be communicated through the Nigerian Institute of Soil Science Institute. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.